Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. I love the reception to my last Battlefield video about the campaign, and hopefully that carries over into this multiplayer video because I have spent the entirety of my weekend basically playing Battlefield 6 multiplayer, and I have a lot to say. I have a lot of high highs, some issues that aren't ruining the experience, but I do think could be ironed out. But overall, I am really enjoying myself, and I haven't felt like playing a shooter, like a FPS, on the regular since like the first Black Ops. That's been a while. I have dabbled here and there in a bunch of other ones, but like that was like the last one military shooter that I was really into. And before that, it was Battlefield Bad Company 1 and 2. Multiplayer on those was fantastic. I did miss Battlefield 4. I know that is an absolute travesty, and I apologize to all you Battlefield fans. I will get to that and maybe make a video on that itself. But here in Battlefield 6, I love this. I think it is a lot of fun, and I think it is deserving of all of the attention it's getting right now. So let's talk about why. And first thing off the bat, I want to say this game just feels so good to play in a way that doesn't really come through and convey itself very well during the campaign experience. As in the multiplayer experience, when you are buckling down, you really realize how good the game feels to play in the moment, especially when the kill times are a little longer than some other shooters right now. And that leaves you with a lot of counterplay, unless you meet in the end of a shotgun barrel or a sniper round. And for me, that's a big reason why I do enjoy this game. There is a lot of strategy because you actually have to think about what you are doing. We are past the twitchy COD time and we're back to Battlefield in its greatness. And I was really concerned during the beta that everything felt super snappy, and like that is a good thing, but also I didn't want Battlefield leaning too much into the COD identity, as Battlefield has its own identity already, and it just needed to carry that on and carry it over into this new title. And I'm happy to report that it does feel a bit more tactical. It doesn't feel quite as twitchy as the beta did. I'm not even really sure why, but I do feel like my character has a little more weight to them, and I do have to kind of play around the speed of my character in reaction to others. On the topic of guns, along with this, guns feel very chunky, very meaty, and have a lot of punch to them and feel very good to use no matter what I've used. Now I'm still kind of in using these starting weapons. I always love leveling a few weapons and then expanding my horizons as I go on after I've gotten a few that I know I can always fall back on if I'm becoming a bit of a scrub. But I have no doubt in my mind that the weapons coming for me as I level up are going to feel just as punchy and just as good. And they also have plenty of attachments to sit there and customize as you play, and I felt like I was unlocking attachments at a very good pace. Every other match, and sometimes every match, I was unlocking barrels, I was unlocking sights, laser sights, some of which are more useful than others, I will admit. A lot of grips and even different ammo types for my guns that made it a joy to sit there and customize between the matches. It really makes every weapon feel like your own. And when you first boot up Battlefield, you'll notice there are quite a few different modes to play. Some are not for me. They are too Call of Duty for me, too close quarters and speedy. And that would be like the squad deathmatch, the team deathmatch, King of the Hill, domination. Things I really like in a lot of other shooters didn't quite hit for me as well in this one. They are fun and really useful for leveling guns up if you just want to do it the legit way, because there are other ways of leveling things up I've seen from the community. But these are just not for me. However, the ones that stand out to me the most: Breakthrough, Conquest, Escalation, and Rush. These four are going to be my bread and butter going forward, and I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of other players' bread and butter going forward too. These are the modes that capture a lot more of the battlefield power fantasy. The get into your vehicles with your buddies, get in a helicopter, get on that minigun, drive a tanker around, drive, an ATV or an APC running around blasting folks, jump out with your squad, and then just go to town. These actually feel like Battlefield at its peak, and I really think these ones are the ones to really concentrate on, whether you're new or a returning player to Battlefield, because these are where the game shines the most. However, if I do have one criticism about them, is that they all play out the exact same. You have a defending team and an attacking team, with one trying to force their way through the other to take control of the entire battlefield or bring down the enemy reinforcements to zero. With the exception of one, and it still kind of follows the same thing, but that is Conquest. Conquest is the one that I think a lot of people will gravitate to because it's a mix of things. It's a mix of kind of like Breakthrough and something like Domination, but a really, really large scale. In Conquest, you'll have both teams start opposite ends of the map with like 5 or 6 points in the middle, and you are both kind of just fighting for control of these points and to completely eliminate the other team as you control the battlefield. Throw in some vehicles and some really long sight lines for snipers like myself. It's a very, very fun mode and probably my favorite. And actually, it kind of highlights my issue with the smaller mode like Team Deathmatch and Domination, King of the Hill and stuff like that, because you can really only play 2 classes during those. 2 classes shine the most: the Assault class and the Support class. The Engineer and the Recon struggle in these ones with the smaller maps, and Engineer kind of feels useless since there's not vehicles or anything. And there is stuff you can use as Engineer for sure, but it's just almost like you're kneecapping yourself if you aren't playing Assault. And these other modes, all of the big large scale ones, they all just support and feel like they are the bread and butter and the entire goal of this multiplayer experience. With all of the modes being kind of a mixed bag, it's also very good that a big change from the beta has come in the form of a server browser, and it works very well. You can go through and find just about anything you would really want to play in this. A lot of community driven content in here as well that has been pretty cool to jump in every now and again. So I would definitely recommend going in and not just playing the curated playlists from DICE, but definitely go in and experience these other community-led little projects and maps and things. It's also a great convenience that you can also create a custom search where you can take out certain modes and even certain maps if you just do not like those maps, and just have it also just search just for those things. It makes it very, very easy to just jump in, click one button, get thrown in a match, let's go. So while looking at the multiplayer, we got gameplay, banging. We got the modes, banging. We got the progression system, also banging. However, there are some issues I do have with the progression system. One of which is with vehicles. So I've had multiple missions, it could have just been my team composition, I don't know, where vehicles started to become super overbearing in some ways. See, when you go in and you start leveling up your vehicles, especially tanks and things like that, you can give them things like extra armor, self-repair, things that, automatically target C4 and a bunch of other, bombs that are a threat to you, right? And putting reinforced plating and things on your tank. And at a certain point, it kind of breaks the immersion of Battlefield when you basically have an invincible tank that self-heals and self-defends itself while the people inside are blasting away. And that's on top of having some engineers on said tank to repair it. So like I've had a couple of matches where a single tank, one tank, was just basically the aggressor with the enemy just huddling around it. And I gotta say, it was really cool. It's a freaking hilarious strategy. But if you're on the opposite side, can be very, very frustrating because it feels like there isn't a lot you can do. I popped on engineer and I shot rocket after rocket after rocket, and even a buddy who was with me went and switched to engineer just to get rid of it, and we could not get rid of it. So I do hope that they kind of tune back how much armor the tank will get with these upgrades and how fast they can be repaired, because it basically felt like it was invincible for that match. And another complaint I have seen with people, and that I see it and I understand it, but don't entirely agree with it because it doesn't affect me personally. It is a similar issue that people had with Ghost of Yotei, which I also recently reviewed, and that's that there is a lot of female characters in this. Now for me, that is no problem. I don't care who I'm playing as. I can still have my Battlefield fantasy, and it doesn't bring me out of it at all. However, I do know a lot of people who just would like to play as a dude because, like, that's what they are. They're dudes. They want to play as a dude, be John Battlefield and, role play in that role. And then I do see how it would be hard to do that when you have a girl shouting in your ear whenever you're doing actions. And some of the classes on here force you to play as a girl or to play as a guy. I do think that is kind of dumb. I do think there is really no reason why you can't have, a 50 split between them. Like, when you start the game, you should be able to pick, any class could be a male or female at any time. And then you could just unlock the skins for those characters over time, depending on what you played as. I think that would be a solution that everyone would like. I don't think it's a problem, personally, but I do see how it's a problem for some. So that is something to keep in mind if you're kind of sensitive to your immersion breaking when it comes to these kind of things. And another nitpick I would bring up is that I personally feel the aim assist value, especially on controller, is almost overbearing, to where, like, I was sniping people and it was actively hard to aim at them because it slowed down so much, or like it pulled it one way or another if someone was anywhere near the enemy. So I actually ended up bringing down all my aim assist values to about the 75 out of 100. It felt so much better to play. I felt like my everything was much more consistent because I was actually doing the aiming, even for controller. So definitely do keep that in mind if you have any issue with the aiming system in this game. I would definitely just kind of fiddle with it here and there. But thankfully there is a lot of control settings in this game and a lot of accessibility settings that let you play how you want, down to having like 16 different scope level sensitivities and things like that, which is fantastic. So overall, I absolutely recommend everyone play this Battlefield. I know that Call of Duty is kind of going through it right now, and that, I have mixed feelings about that. COD needs to have a kind of wake up call, and I think this is it. I think Battlefield is doing everything it needs to be the one that stands out, to be that thing that gamers can really rally behind, and they're doing exactly what they think players want. I am 100% behind their vision for this game so far. So what do you guys think? Have you been playing this as much as I have? All weekend, every damn minute that you can? How much have you been enjoying it? What are your gripes with it? Comment below, let me know. Subscribe if you want to hear more from me. Like this video if you found it informative or enjoyable to watch in any way. I'm always open to criticism to make my content even better. And I hope that you guys will join me for my next video. Peace.